Welcome to this series of podcasts on child protection. The objective of this production is to impart basic information about child protection and other related topics using a medium which listeners can access at the most convenient time for them. For this first series, we will be discussing child protection basic concepts. The objective is to provide the basic foundation in understanding child protection. With me is G to help me share with you about the basic concepts in child protection.
What is child protection?
We will be using the universally agreed upon definition of child protection from the United Nations Convention of the Rights of a Child, which is child protection refers to preventing and responding to violence, exploitation, and abuse against children, including commercial sexual exploitation, trafficking, child labor, and harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation or cutting and child marriage.
That was a mouthful. Can we define each of the terminology used?
Yes, let's start with the definition of a child. UNCRC defines a child as a human below 18 years, which is consistent, I think, also with our own country's definition.
Moving on, what do we mean by violence against children?
Violence against children refers to all forms of physical, emotional, or mental injury, abuse, neglect, or exploitation.
How is it different from child abuse?
Child abuse is any deliberate behavior or action that endangers a child's health, survival, well being, and development. There are three types of child abuse: physical, emotional, and sexual. Neglect, however, is also a form of child abuse. Please take note of the operative word deliberate. Examples: physical discipline using harmful objects, such as a wood to hit a child when any adult thinks that it is the right way of disciplining a child. Another example: demeaning words, abusive words that affects the psychological well-being of a child is a form of emotional abuse. Sexual abuse is forced entry or advancement of a child's sexuality. Related to this is child exploitation. It is defined as the use of children for someone else's economic or sexual advantage, gratification, or profit, often resulting in unjust, cruel, and harmful treatment of the child.
Is child neglect different from what you have already discussed?
Yes, it is. Child neglect is the persistent failure of a parent or adult caregiver to provide appropriate care to a child despite being able to do so. Like, for example, a parent who has a stable job and income fails to provide for the needs of a child despite the ability and capacity to do so is a form of child neglect.
What about child trafficking? What does it mean?
Child trafficking is also a common form of child protection issue. It refers to the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of children for the purpose of exploitation.
I am also confused with child labor. Does it mean that when we ask our children to do or help in the household, chores as part of training them is a form of child labor?
Thank you for citing that because it's a common point of confusion in understanding child labor. Child labor is unpaid and paid activities that are mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, or morally dangerous and harmful to children. It is a kind of work that interferes with the development and education of children. Like, for example, as a parent or adult caregiver, You sent your 9-year-old child to work in a farm to earn money so that he or she can contribute to your daily needs. In this case, you are letting a child work to earn a living when he is supposed to be in school, and it is your responsibility as an adult caregiver or as a parent to look for a job to provide for your family needs.
Okay, that clarifies the notion of letting a child work. There was also a mention of genital mutilation and child marriage as cultural practices. Can you also shed light on this?
Genital mutilation, also referred to as cutting, refers to all procedures involving partial or total removal of the external female genitalia or other injury to the genital organs for non-medical reasons. This is usually done as part of the initiation of a female as a cultural practice, which is another layer of issue and violence against women, not just for a child. This is practiced in other countries, but I don't think it is done here in the Philippines. Child marriage, on the other hand, is any marriage of a child younger than 18 years old, which is also referred to as child marriage. This is contentious in the Philippines since by law it is allowed as long as there is consent from the parents.
That was a lot of information, but makes it easier to understand the basic concept to a more broader discussion on child protection.
Yes, you are right. Our focus is to educate people about child protection and mobilize them to educate others too. As you have said, this is just an introduction to child protection. Take note that our main goal is to ensure that we have discussed, are prevented, and if they happen, we would be able to respond. This is child protection, or this is what child protection all about. Preventing and responding to violence, neglect, and exploitation of children. Thank you very much. It has been an interesting discussion. Next episode would be on child protection mechanisms, which is more on the preventive side of what we are doing to protect children. Mabalos.